I'm so done with AI advice on product management. Yesterday you needed an MCP, tomorrow you need a Hermes agent, you're already falling behind. The product managers who stay relevant in this AI shift are not the ones who are going to be prompting better. It's the ones who understand AI systems. And I think right now, most of the content is more driving our anxiousness rather than being actually helpful. You are either told that you're already left behind or that you're not technical enough to keep up. And I think that is BS. After coaching over 20 product organizations and building B2B AI products myself, the pattern I see is simple. Applying AI is not about a prompt or a skill. It is about thinking in AI systems. There's context or data that goes in. There's a workflow specification that runs. And then there's a useful output or action being taken. There's an evaluation step that keeps an eye on the quality bar. And there is a human in the loop for those relevant process steps where we need our human judgment. Ideally, the AI system has a self-referential kind of validation loop so it can improve over time. And these kind of systems, this kind of system thinking applies for both internal tools and how we do our product management work as well as what we deliver to customers. So with that one framework, I think you can really up-level the way you think about AI systems away from the individual prompt or skill that somebody FOMOs you into downloading and rather into a more proactive, high-level approach where you can kind of understand the landscape and where it's going. So let's start with the internal side, because that is where most product teams feel the impact first. Internally, AI can help product teams in a lot of obvious ways. Product discovery, data analysis, prototyping and design, how to update stakeholders, and kind of using AI as a thinking partner in order to sharpen your product judgment. But the mistake becomes treating these as one-off prompts or one-off workflows. Summarize this interview, analyze this dashboard, make this one prototype. You will probably have noticed by now that very quickly you are lost in a sea of different prompts and workflows and that you become the bottleneck because you can't review all of the stuff that the LLMs are generating for you. So while having a prompt library is a fine starting point, thinking in workflows and AI systems that repeat themselves is really where you want to be moving towards. So what systems should exist? Let's take product discovery. The shallow version is, okay, I let AI summarize all my 50 interviews here. The systems version is what raw data comes in, what needs to happen transformation-wise to that data. Let's say we label themes, we pull in qualitative data and quantitative data in order to make sure that we only use customer conversations from customers that are actually relevant. And then what do I need to get out? Do I want a big fat report? Do I want individual insights to the right team members? Do I want to enrich existing tickets in the backlog with the data out of those interviews in order to either invalidate or validate the hypothesis driving that feature request or that ticket? And where do I, as a product manager, for example, go to see whether or not that evidence is actually trustworthy? Same with analysis. The shallow version is ask AI to build you a dashboard. The systems version is to start with the outcome of what usage data insights would actually help me drive a roadmap discussion, a planning. And then working backwards from there and saying, which raw data can we pull in? What needs to be happening in the meantime in order to get me that? Prototyping, right? Same thing. Generate me a wireframe. That is one-off. The systems version is, well, we have a design system. All wireframes, all mockups should use that. We have product context. So how do we get the context in? Context could be design system. Context could be what kind of products we're talking about. Right, and then what outcomes do we want? Do we always want to generate one-off HTML pages? Or do we want this to be embedded within a system where designers can keep iterating on it? Thinking about that system and these repeatabilities and these workflows is really what's going to unlock the value here. And here comes probably the most used and least useful use case. Write me a PRD, a user story. That is the shallow version. The systems version of this is challenge my thinking. Use my brain dump that I have around a problem statement and the potential feature that I want to propose and structure it. And then start grilling me about it. Start challenging me about it. So the LLM all of a sudden tries to identify hidden assumptions you've made, lack of evidence you have, right? It becomes the most annoying thinking partner you have in order to sharpen your thinking and your writing so that when you bring it to the team, that you come with something that is a lot better quality than what you would have if you just write it yourself. So in the quality scale, you have like this hardened approach where you use AI as a thinking partner in order to get to the best possible PRD or user story. Then in the middle, you have the thing that you would write yourself. And then you have the worst possible version, which is like AI slop. Here is the PRD I generated for your dear developers or stakeholders. I'm sure they're going to be very happy about that. And with that, let's get into AI systems that we actually could ship to customers. And I think with that, we will illustrate a bit more this breakdown of the systematic process. In the old world, products would would give customers a dashboard, a user interface, and it would tell you, here is the data, here's the interface, go click here, fill out this form, click this button, check this dashboard. This is product surface pre-AI. And the big thing is it involves actually a lot of learning and a lot of work on the customer side. The user needs to figure out how to get their job done. Let's take product analyst AI, for example. The simple thing we started out with is that most product companies do not have enough product analysts analyzing the data they already track. And most importantly, it is not per se about getting more data reports. It's about getting, for this individual decision, the right data in the right time, in the right place. So this new world is different. In Product Analyst AI, for example, we do not have an interface for this, but our long-running agents can analyze each individual customer of our customer and their usage of the product and make personalized recommendations based on that data. That is something on that individual scale that would have never been possible pre-AI. And it can actually recommend the next best action for, let's say, the customer success representative or for the product manager. And so we're going from an old world of, here's a dashboard, there's a human looking at it, and there's maybe some action being taken, but there's a lot of thinking and a lot of manual clicking around to do the work for me, make a suggestion, and then there's a human in the loop element. And then there's an action being taken in the real world, a job done. So the anatomy of these AI systems, which is having inputs, workflows, some recommendations, some action being taken, right? A human in the loop optionally where it is needed, some kind of quality bar like evals, rubrics, as well as this feedback loop that allows ideally the agent to check itself and ideally self-improve over time. That is very different to the AI feature with the sprinkly emoji that reformulates something to something else. And I think that is what product managers and product organizations need to understand. Not because they need to understand the individual details of every agentic harness or any multi-turn agent system, but because if you have to create and structure these systems, you need to be able to think in the primitives that make up those systems. So we can get away from these bolt-on AI features to actually end-to-end agentic systems. All right. So if I were a product manager or product leader, I would try not to start with panic. I would try not to start with the trending AI tutorial of the week. I think we learn a lot from staying up to date, but I would try to start with the map and with the question, where can a repeatable AI system improve our work or our product? And I would tend to try to start with the internal tooling because I think it is much easier to play around there. You are the stakeholder and the user, and you can verify whether or not this thing actually works. So creating internal efficiencies through AI systems, I think, is a great starting point. And towards your customers and clients, I would again start with the question, what is the job we can get done for our customers with AI that we just couldn't get done prior? And then using the step-by-step system in order to reverse engineer how you can set that up. If you want, I can record another video with a lot more detail about how an agentic system with these input control mechanisms, workflows, outputs, rubrics and evaluation systems actually works in practice. So just let me know in the comments if that would be useful. All right, cheers.